So now it's time to start with the CSS part of the project. So for that we need to use the style.css file. Inside of the style.css file, first I'm going to select the universal selector and I'm going to reset the basic styling of the browser, which is the padding. So padding I'm going to set it to 0. So padding is going to be 0. Then we need to set the margin to 0. And then we need to use the border box, which is the border box sizing, not border box. Actually the box sizing is going to be the border box. Alright, and then to select the body selector. Inside of the body selector we need to add the bunch of things. So first we need to set the background. So I'm going to use here a linear gradient, and inside of that first I'm going to select the 315 degree, which is the linear, because instead of using to right to left I am actually using here a 350 degree angle. Then 0, then B0, and then we need to specify the color, which is F1A. This will be the first color for the linear gradient, and then we need to use here another color, and also I need to set the opacity to 0%. Alright, and then we need to specify the another color, which is 591372, and then we need to set its opacity to 74%. Okay, and now if I control save it, you can see now we get the linear gradient color. Now the next thing is we need to add here another property, which is the font family. So font family, and here I am going to use this sans serif. So you can see now the font of the project is actually changed. If I save it, now you can see this is the color, and this will be the project of the final color. Now you can see there is some lines are actually showing on. So don't worry, we are going to fix it. Then we need to add the code for the h1 element. So we need to change its color. So the first thing is we need to set it to the center. So text alignment is going to be the center, and then we need to change the color. So I will be here using the RGB function. So here first I will be using 255, then 0, and then again here comma, and then 157. So this will be the color. So here actually it's like RAB, we need to use the RGB. Control save, and you can see now the color of the heading is actually changed. Then we need to use the line height. So line height I'm going to use the 100 VH. You can see now the 100 VH height for this particular is actually increased, and it also come back to the center of the screen, and also those square lines is actually gone. Next property that we want to add is actually the font size. Right now it's very small, so I'm going to use the font size 7 rem. So you can see now the font size of the heading is actually increased. Next we need to add the things for the span element. Now the span element will be used to actually add the span to each and every character that we are going to do in the next part, which is the JavaScript part of the project. So what we are going to do, we are going to use this style code to actually add the span tag for each and every character. We are going to use the logic. Alright, so the span, and then also we need a span dot fade, because right now this is actually a fade animation. If I refresh it, you can see it is actually a fade animation. Alright, so for that reason we are actually going to use here a span dot fade. Okay, and then we need to add the style code inside of these two blocks. So the first thing is we need to set the display, that the display is actually going to be like inline block. Alright, and then we need to set the opacity, not opacity, it's like opacity to 0. And after that we need to set the transition. So transition is going to like from all sides, means all is going to 1, and it is going to like is. And then we need to use the transform. So transform, then we need to translate at the y-axis, which is actually at the 50 pixel. Then we need to specify a comma, not comma, we need to use the another translate, it is going to be like x, and then again we need to use the 50 pixel. Alright, right now if I control save it, nothing is going to happen, because we need to use this at the runtime by using the JavaScript. Now inside this span.fade, we need to use the opacity to 1 and transform translate. So again we need to use the transform and translate. So I'm going to copy it here, this property, copy it, and I'm going to paste it here, and this is actually I'm going to replace it with 0, and this is also 0. Alright, and then we need to use the color. So color, again we need to use here RGB function. So the red color is going to like 255, it is like 117, and the blue one is going to like 202. So that's it for the CSS part of the project. So in the next part we are going to start with the JavaScript. for this particular text animation project.